We're here today with Samuel Pelaez, CIO and Portfolio Manager with Galileo Global. Welcome back to the studio, Sam.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's talk about the hottest topic in the market today, blockchain technology. So a lot of companies have blockchain in their names, even though their company has nothing to do with it, or even technology for that matter. So why is it such an important sector for investors to look into?
Since the time of the internet, this is the most important technological revolution that we've seen. And when you really think about it, the internet was 25 years ago. Prior to that, we had the PC, probably another 25 years prior to that. So in the lifespan of the average person, you're only going to get 3 or 4 of these opportunities to invest in. So we're in the early innings of one of them. And it's important that people recognize that and learn about blockchain technology so that they can make informed decisions and invest in this space. RBC thinks the opportunity is about $4 trillion in value. For context, NASDAQ is about, all the equities in NASDAQ are about 10 trillion. So it's a pretty sizable opportunity. And most importantly is the early innings. I want people to understand that the opportunities are still there. It's not late to learn about it and to invest.
Now, what are some of the risks that investors should look for in investing in the sector?
I think most of them are the same you would see in any sort of like technological or technology company. Most of these companies are early stage, they don't have revenues, they're still rolling out products or in the process of building products. So most of the risks are associated with the early stage nature of the companies. The other aspect of the industry has more to do with cryptocurrencies, and cryptocurrencies have risks that relate more to the regulatory landscape. We understand so far the SEC and the OSC have not mandated or regulated the space. They have not made a clear decision as to how they want to regulate the space. But we're encouraged that just last week, the CFTC, that's the Commodity Futures Trading Commission in the States, the chairman of this organization made very supportive comments that lead us to believe that there will be regulation that will be in favor of advancing the industry and not stifle it like most people are afraid of.
A lot of people understand blockchain technology as a payment process technology. So what other markets can blockchain technology disrupt?
That's right. And most people have only seen that because the media has been talking about how this will disrupt the payment processing industry, how cryptocurrencies could replace fiat currencies. I think that's just a little bit misguided. Payment processing is only the first stage. And the reason for that is because this industry is very easy to disrupt. There's lots of costs associated with it. The technology that we're using is 30 years old. So there's lots of opportunities for these new entrants to disrupt that space. But there's many, many other industrial uses and applications for this technology. For one, it can be used for data storage, right? Lots of companies have all the data stored in a server room in their office. Needless to say, this is very risky. We've seen Equifax, many other Fortune 500 companies who've been hacked. What you can do with blockchain technology is do this distributed storage solution where you distribute parts of your data across different nodes and you can retrieve it very easily. And all of this is in this sort of like blockchain ledger that allows you to distribute and then reconsolidate all the parts very safely. You can use it for voting, you can use it for healthcare, even Pixar can use it to make their own movies.
Now let's talk about cryptocurrency for a second. It is such a big topic as well. How do I explain what cryptocurrency is to my, say, 80-year-old grandpa?
Let's start with Bitcoin because we were all introduced to Bitcoin before we were introduced to blockchain technology. Bitcoin only exists thanks to blockchain technology. It rides on a blockchain technology. What the technology does, it gives access to people to perform peer-to-peer transactions without a trusted intermediary, right? When you think about, say, real estate, right? Real estate has this broker element in between that, we trust our broker, you trust your broker, we can communicate through them, and then the transactions are guaranteed. It's the same with banks, right? Banks are the in-between you and I to transact in money. What this technology allows us to do is to transact directly without that common intermediary because it's as if there's thousands of eyes looking at the transaction to say, I indeed receive money from X or Y or Z, right? And that's all coded in a ledger, in blocks. That's named blockchain. It's a chain of blocks. So what cryptocurrencies give you is the opportunity to transact without the trusted intermediary in a way that's fully transparent and everybody can validate or see or audit.
Now, a very important question for investors. How exactly do we invest in this sector? What are some of the aspects that we should look for when investing in blockchain?
So we have been very successful so far investing in the space. Last summer, we launched a fund to invest in blockchain technologies. I believe it was the first of its kind in Canada. It was spectacular in terms of returns. I think we returned something around 660% for the 6 months of summer to winter. It was so successful that we had to close that fund for new subscriptions. We're now raising money for our second fund to continue to profit from these opportunities. This fund will be called the Galileo Technology and Blockchain Fund. What we're doing is we're investing in equities that have exposure to the sector. We're not investing in the cryptocurrencies yet. We won't do that until the OSC has given us a regulatory framework that we can adopt. We think there's regulatory risk associated with the cryptocurrencies right now from an institutional standpoint. It doesn't make sense for us to do that. So what do we do in our fund to find these blockchain opportunities? We went back to study the 90s, the time of the internet. I wasn't managing money then, but we went back to study what were the things that made certain companies very successful while so many others didn't survive. And when you look at the likes of like Facebook, Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Oracle, they all have two things in common. One is they have a very strong leader who was committed to seeing the company through. And number two, the vision of the company was always to transform the way we went about our lives. So seeing how the potential that this technology has for our daily lives, I believe you have to find that same kind of people. You need to find somebody who's very, very well read in the space, who understands where the space is going. And number two, that is not just motivated by money. Somebody who really wants to transform the way we go about things.
Now, Sam, are there any stocks in the technology sector that you are interested in right now?
Absolutely. There is, I would mention two companies that we own right now, and then perhaps two companies that are currently private that we're helping and we're looking to invest as they go public. The first one is our largest holding. It's called Hive Blockchain Technologies. It's possibly it was the first company to list in the Canadian markets under the blockchain aspect. They're a big miner. They mine cryptocurrencies. Best part of this company is they have this very strong partner in Genesis Mining. Genesis Mining is led by a very young German guy called Markus Streng. Marco is an incredible individual. He's very committed to the space. He's one of the thought leaders in everything cryptocurrency and blockchain, so he gives us that comfort in knowing that he knows where the space is going. And also, we know for a fact that he's not motivated just by money. He's been offered to sell his company many times over with his co-founders, and they've never been interested because they want to see this through, and they want to change the way people look and the way people go about their lives. The second one is out of Vancouver. It's a company called Blockchain Intelligence Group. We also have a sizable investment in this company. The company is engaged in a very critical part of the infrastructure of cryptocurrencies, which is sort of like auditing and giving like credit scores to wallets and transactions to verify or to give a sense for, to prevent money laundering, to make sure that there's trusted counterparties that are transacting, and make sure that there's none of the bad guys that exist in the fiat currency market, right? Participating in these transactions. Their clients are some of the largest intelligence agencies in the world, and the chairman of the company is Sean Anstey, who is a phenomenal individual, also one of the biggest thought leaders in the space. So we're very comfortable with that investment. On the private side, there's two quick companies I'd like to mention. One is called Vanvex. It's probably one of the best crypto advisory businesses out there. Lisa Cheng is one of the co-founders. She was an instrumental part of the first ever ICO. That was the Mastercoin ICO. All of this happened in Canada. Great success. She's also one of the thought leaders in the space, and they should be coming to market this year. The last company I'll talk about is called Abax Technologies. This is a Singapore-based company that has its origin here in Toronto. The company is a sort of an incubator for blockchain technology development for industrial use. The forefront and most advanced project so far is a major commodities trading business out of Singapore using and leveraging blockchain technology. This is all being done with cooperation with Singapore government agencies. And they have this phenomenal team of successful entrepreneurs from Canada, the US, Japan, and Singapore. One of the strongest teams I've seen. It's all headed by Josh Crumb. And we're also looking to help them in their going public round.
Well, thank you so much for your insight today, Sam.
Thank you.